we'll do like a minutes remaining. It's just gonna be a brief like intro into like my style of like the way I deliver the information. Keep in mind again, a copy of these sessions are on my YouTube channel. Okay, so I think it's a link in the chat. Let me open up my chat window again. Yeah, so the link is there. Just go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube, and let's just kind of get into it. All right. So let me see. Can I see the clock? There we go. So we're moving. We're going to go ahead and start with chapter 1. So with this, and again, all the stuff that you see me writing, I'll make a copy of everything you see me writing. A copy will be available as a PDF. I just got to get back access to Blackboard, and I'll put everything there. It'll be in Blackboard. Okay. Let me check one other thing. Ali access free? Okay, that looks good. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Are they about to meet? Because I'm leaving. Yep. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Whatever. Okay. So, let's see. So we have section 1.1, graphs of equations. So some objectives here. We want to plot points in the Cartesian coordinate plane, find the distance between 2 points, find the midpoint of a line segment, sketch a graph by plotting points, and keep me honest at the time. I think the class lets out at 5:50 today, so don't, if I'll lose track of time easy. So just, when we hit 5:50, just let me know. We want to find the intercepts of a graph, find symmetries in a graph, and find the equation of a circle. So here we have an ordered pair of real numbers is a pair of real numbers in which the order is specified, right? So we have this x comma y, we have this -3 comma 1, where the -3 corresponds to the x coordinate and the 1 corresponds to our y coordinate, right? So the first coordinate is our x, the second one is our y. So the ordered pair A comma B has the first component A and the second component B. So two ordered pairs are equal if and only if x equals A and y equals B. Right? Again, if you have questions, feel free to either unmute yourself or type in the chat and just stop me. Otherwise, if you don't stop me, I'll just kind of keep going. Okay. So two sets of ordered pairs of real numbers are identified with points on a line called the coordinate plane or the Cartesian plane. So the horizontal axis is the x-axis. So we start at the origin. We either go right or left on the x-axis, and then we either go up or down on the y. So this upper right hand, so we have this horizontal axis, which is the x-axis, and this vertical axis is the y. It breaks the flat surface up into 4 quadrants. So the upper right hand quadrant, we call that quadrant 1. All of this stuff over here to the left is upper left is quadrant 2, bottom left is quadrant 3, and bottom right is quadrant 4. We refer to the point of the point corresponding to the ordered pair A comma B as the graph of the ordered pair AB in the coordinate system. The notation P of A comma B designated the point P in the coordinate plane whose x coordinate is A and whose y coordinate is B. This is all kind of just reiterating the same stuff. So we're asked to graph the following points in the xy plane, right? I kind of left this one B because I felt like this isn't too bad. So we have these ordered pairs. So A is 3 comma 1. So to graph that, if we start at the origin, we go right 3 and up 1. So this is the point 3 comma 1. Right? And then B is -2, 4. So if we go -2 and 4, it puts us here. All right. I feel like this isn't too bad, so I'm going to leave the rest as an exercise and go on to the next one. So then we have recalled that the Pythagorean Theorem states that in a right triangle with a hypotenuse of length C and legs AB, then it should be the case that A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So if you have what's recommended, I recommend that you create a formula sheet, it's a sheet maybe in the very back of your notebook, so that every time you come across a formula, you just update it with the formula. So this is one of those formulas I would add to my formula sheet. And one of my mentors would say every time you use a formula, you write it down. Um, that just helps with the repetition helps with the memory, right? Okay, let's see it in action. So we have these 2 points P and Q, be any 2 points on the coordinate plane. The distance between these 2 points is given by this formula, the distance formula. This is another formula I would add to the formula sheet. So the distance between 2 points is basically x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay. And so this is kind of a little bit of the rationale as to where that formula comes from. Say we have 2 points. We have a point P and we have a point Q, right? And we want to find the distance between those two. Okay. So then we can consider an additional point S, like if we come straight up off the vertical through this point and straight off the horizontal through that point, we can connect them at this point S, right? So this is going to have the value x1 and y2. That's going to be this point. So with the P, the Q, and the S, they can make this right triangle, right? And we just said if we have a right triangle, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, if we want the distance, that's going to be this thing squared plus this thing squared equals this thing squared, right? So then when you write all that out, that's where this formula comes from. You don't have to know all of that. You can just commit this to memory if that suffices. If we're looking at this top segment and we want the distance there, then that's just going to be x2 minus x1. If we want the distance here, that's going to be y2 minus y1. The absolute value of that, because distance is positive, right? But again, you don't need to know all of that. The main thing is just know how to use this formula. You don't even really have to commit it to memory because we're doing everything remote. Right now, you just need to know how to use this formula. Okay, let's see if we can see this in action. So we're asked to find the distance between these 2 points. Okay, so if we're finding the distance, let's use the distance formula. All right. So then the distance formula, let me see, this distance between 2 points P and Q, let's see, how did we write that before? Yeah. Square root, we said x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay. So usually when I have a set of ordered pairs, I just go ahead and label them off the rip. Let me show you what I mean by that. So this could be my x1, y1, x2, y2. I just kind of do that, you know, without even really thinking about it. So then if we plug in our corresponding parts, x2, now we see it's going to be 3, minus x1 is going to be negative 2 squared. y2 is going to be negative 4 minus y1 is 5 squared. Let me get this, okay? And again, just stop me if anything, if you have questions about anything, or if it's, you know, if it's intense, just stop me. Don't let me keep going. If you let me keep going, I will. Okay. So here we have a double negative going on. Let's change that color so it can pop a little bit more. All right. So 3 minus negative 2, double negative becomes positive. Right? So then 3 plus 2 ends up being 5. So that ends up being 5 squared plus negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. That's going to be negative 9 squared. And we're taking the square root of all of that. So then that's going to be 25 plus 81. What is that, 106? Are there any perfect squares? What is that, 53? I think that's it, right? I'm going to say this is my final result. Because even if we divide it by 2, I think it gives us 53. So I don't think we have any perfect squares there. I'm not immediately seeing it anyway. So then, yeah, from there, they just use a calculator to crunch the number. Okay, so we have a type version of what we just did by hand. Okay. So then the midpoint formula. So the midpoint is basically halfway between your x values and halfway between your y values. So then a simple way to remember midpoint formula is the average of your x's, comma average of your y's. Let me see what's going on here. Let's do like this, like this. Okay, looks good. Let me see. And also, so I take attendance as I let you guys in. I do have one person in the waiting room, but they don't have the student name showing, so I don't let them in. I just need to see your name so that I can. That's how you get your attendance credit. And also going forward, I'm really just using class time. Let me think about that. Would that work for you guys? Yeah, we're really doing. I mean, I think it's okay since I'm streaming. We can still do asynchronous. So like, you don't have to sit in on the class. You can just log in if you want to. But you need to get attendance credit every day, and just check in and make sure that you don't have any questions. If you don't have any questions, you don't have to stay. I do intend to like still stream our sessions, and you can always watch them later. But it is always better to at least, even if you're not gonna like be conscious, like you can like be working, use that time to just go ahead and do your math. And like as you have questions, you can ask. Also, my intent is once I get everything going, I probably go ahead and load as many assignments as possible. So if you want to get ahead, you can actually do that as well. Let me see the time. We'll probably go for like another 5 minutes, and then we'll call it a day. Okay. Let's kind of see what else we got. So we're asked to find the midpoint of the line segment joining these. Let me get myself some brightness. So we're asked to find the midpoint of the line segment that joins these, right? So if we're going to use the midpoint formula, the simple way to remember is the average of your x's, comma, average of your y's. So then midpoint is going to be x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2, right? So again, whenever I have two or more points, or just 2 points, I automatically go x1, y1, x2, y2. And that just makes it easier to apply them. So then now our x1 is -3, our x2 is 1. Our y1 is 6, our y2 is 4, right? So then if we crunch these numbers, the first one's going to be -1, and what is it? 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay. So to check something like this, you could like graph it and see that 1.5, that -1,5 is halfway between these other 2 points. That's about the best we could do there. We don't always have the luxury of checking in math, but whenever do, which happens often, you definitely want to check. In math, when we complete a question and we don't check, what we're saying is, I've been in school for these 12 odd years. This answer may or may not be right. I'm just going to leave it up to chance. But chance favors the prepared mind, right? So the more prepared you are, the more the odds of success are in your favor. But when you check, you drastically boost the odds of success in your favor. Okay. An ordered pair A comma B is said to satisfy an equation with variables A and B if when A is substituted for X and B is substituted for Y, the resulting statement is true. An ordered pair that satisfies an equation is called a solution, right? Frequently, the numerical values of the Y component can be determined by assigning appropriate values of the X. For this reason, Y is sometimes referred to as a dependent variable and X as the independent variable. So we're just basically talking about solutions of equations. Any ordered pair that satisfies all the points in the solution in the equation is said to be a solution. The graph of an equation in two variables such as x and y is a set of all ordered pairs in the coordinate plane that satisfy the equation. So for instance, if we ask to sketch the graph of this y equals x squared minus 3. So we basically want to plot all the points that make this equation true. So they just chose several values of x on the left-hand side. So they just chose values of x. Like they just said, okay, -3, -2, -1, so on and so on and so on. And then pass those through the function, and the output, for instance, the output when x was -3, the output was 6. When x was -2, the output was 1. Output was -2, so on and so on, all right? So then these x's with these y's create a set of ordered pairs, these guys here. So then if we plot them, this is the first way that we have for graphing is by making a table. Choosing values of x, passing them through the function, and then creating a set of ordered pairs, and then plotting the ordered pairs, and we get something like this. So we have more sophisticated ways of making our way through, like graphing, but for right now, we just have making a table of points. Okay. So this is kind of like walking us through how to sketch a graph by plotting points. Okay. So let me make a note. Let me see. So I'm going to say that we stopped here. What's today? This is what, Monday, February 2nd, 2021. And then I'm going to make a note to start on the next page tomorrow. So then we're going to say start here, Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. Okay. Again, these notes, I will make them available on Blackboard. Right now, all that you can really do, you just kind of have to just kind of monitor your emails until I give you further instructions, because you can't access Blackboard because I can't access. So for right now, as long as you made it into the Zoom today, that's the main thing. Have your funds ready to go to purchase full access to Pearson. It should be about $120, give or take, maybe $10. But you're gonna purchase access through Blackboard. If you don't have any questions, guys, it's been great. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, take care. Peace. Okay.